Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome to the Moms Interrupted podcast.
We're back.
We're back.
As we always are.
And I don't have a baby on me.
Which is crazy.
Shocking.
It's been a year of you being pregnant and having a baby on you.
Oh my God.
And now you're free.
It
How
feels
does it feel?
so free. My friend's visiting, and I just have to say, friends that are helpful are a very key part of the village in modern day.
Yeah.
That's not spoken about enough. People talk about nannies, daycares, grandparents, all of those things. But hot take, I think friends, because you have no filter and you just know each other so well, and they're the same age. They have a pip in their step. They don't have like a back that hurts.
No shade to grandparents. I do think that there's something like I would never let something happen to my friend's kid.
Oh my God.
And I feel like my mom.
And they listen to directions.
Totally. And my mom would be like, I know what I'm doing. You know what I mean? And like, fine.
Totally. No generational advice.
Yes, but my friends are like, okay, I'm going to do exactly what she said.
Yeah,
you know
I don't
mean?
know what, you know.
Like, I don't know what
I'm not
you and your
going to
baby
tell you what
exactly
you should do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there is something to be said about a friend.
Yeah. I'm like, here she is.
Whether they have kids or not.
Totally. Yeah. Because if you told me to do something with your kid, I would like be writing that shit down to do it.
Totally.
Well, first of all, I wouldn't go against anything Natasha says. Anything she tells me to do, I'm going to do it. I don't want to be on the bad side.
You don't want to be on my list or something?
On a Google Doc.
No, but same. If you told me like Cora needs to eat at 10, it would be like 9:59 and I'd be like, okay, Cora, we're going to eat in 1 minute.
Totally.
You know, when your friend tells you something to do with their kid, then gold.
What you do.
Yeah.
So hopefully she lasts this episode with my friend. But if not, then back to the same old shit.
She'll be back.
You'll see her. So, you know.
Wait, can you update us on the feeding situation? Because you've had a breakthrough and like things have changed. You're out of the 4th trimester and I want to update on.
I am out of the 4th trimester. Trippy. My baby feels like a real baby. I actually do have a crazy update about this. I was looking through my notes and I found a sticky note on my phone that was from my panic mode first 2 weeks of my baby's life. This is when I was calling Natasha all the time to come do weight checks at my house.
Yeah.
I was freaking out. I was panicking. And this is my second baby. And it took Natasha and another lactation consultant that came to me and said, you're doing fine.
Yeah.
This is all fine. Stop being so excessive with this tracking. You're feeding a lot. Your baby is pooping and peeing so much. Like, calm down.
Right. You're good.
And it's all things I knew, but to see my panic notes and to see how I thought my baby was like failing to thrive. You know, everyone talks about failing to thrive.
Yeah.
And she was losing a lot more weight than my son had. And now you see her, she's like a chubbalub.
She's a chubbalub.
She good.
She's good. But I get it in those first like 2 weeks.
Yes.
When you're learning each other.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people panic.
But also it made me tear up because I was thinking if I didn't have these people in my life and these experts telling me that everything I was doing was right and it's a temporary like lockdown phase with your baby. You're in it, but it's like go, cluster feeding. You're panicky. It's so hard. But then once you get over it, it's like, wow, what if I had like not given up, but like not trusted myself?
Yeah. And not had the like external support to be like, it's going well.
Yeah.
Because you can very easily get into this spiral, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't have those same issues with my son. So I was like, it must be something I'm doing. But her and I just took a longer learning curve to figure out everything. And also she, you know, lost more weight. So she was cluster feeding more to gain it all back. And I also want to say, I got referred to this lactation consultant by a friend and she was like, just so you know, she's intense, but she works. But she was like, you got to grab your boob and just shove it. Like you just shove it in their mouth. You bring the baby to the breast.
Yeah.
You
shove the boob
it in and you make sure it's aligned and you hold your boob there and you make sure you're comfortable with enough pillows. And it's a few weeks of just like dedicating and being intense with it.
Yeah.
And then it's easier after.
Right.
And I was like, okay. I remember my hand hurting from being so like,
holding
but it worked.
Yeah.
and it got us to where we needed to be. Their little mouths are so small in the beginning, and it sounds so crazy. Like, how did we get here? That something so natural, you have to be so like,
yeah.
But it's true. There are techniques you have to use.
It's very hands-on. It's funny because my friend just had a baby. Today is day 5 of life. And I went over there yesterday just to do a little, pep talk and overview. And this is her 3rd baby.
Yeah.
So like reminder of all of the things. And I was like, remember, it's very hands-on the first few days, the first few weeks. Like, they can't do it themselves.
No.
And you need 2 pillows and then pillows under your arm. And then she was like, I don't know, one side hurts and the other side doesn't. And I was like, well, he was probably all crunched on one side.
Yeah.
If we have cradle on this side and it works well, then let's just move him across to football on that side. Easy fixes. And she was like, oh my God, he's latching great now on that side. But sometimes you just need a little bit of tweaking.
Yeah.
And same thing. I was like, shove him in there. Like, he can't get there on his own.
My lactation consultant was like, that child survived getting whipped out of your vagina.
Right.
It's going to survive you grabbing a hold of it to execute this maneuver. Because I was like, I don't want to press her back this strongly. She's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
This flimsy hand over here. Like, get it in. But it's true.
No, it's
true. They don't know what they're doing.
No.
You don't know what you're doing. Like, you have to kind of force it.
Well, we've talked about this before. They don't even know they have arms. Like, their little hands are in the way. And so we got to move all this stuff out of the way.
Got to support.
There's a giant breast. You're like, oh my God, it's so big. And it's bigger than the baby's head. It's a lot of hands-on.
It's so hands-on.
And
it just was bringing me back because now at 3.5 months, it's just like everything's so easy. I mean, not everything's so easy. I'm not sleeping. Like, there's issues, right?
Of course.
But the breastfeeding is so easy, and it's kind of like a puzzle the rest of the time. It's not hard, but it is a puzzle. You're constantly figuring out what's going on, and things are changing. It's a great theme because we're talking about pacifiers today. My baby throws up a lot after feeds if she falls asleep at the breastfeeding, and I was doing that for everything. I don't think there ever was a feed. It was like I was just feeding
all the time,
which because you watched the podcast. And I had no problem with that until I noticed she was very uncomfortable falling asleep with feeds. Like, she'd wake up burping, and I couldn't burp her and then put her down. She was like going down with the feed.
Right.
So nothing was working anymore.
Yeah.
Yesterday I gave up. I'm trying something else. Had a random pacifier that she's never used, never liked, laying around, and I shoved it in her mouth and she went, fell asleep.
My God.
Didn't wake up from burping. She was on me on the carrier still, but little angel.
Amazing. And you know what? Babies have an innate reflex to suck. That's very soothing for them.
Yeah.
She probably wanted to.
She did.
And she was getting the breast and she was like, too much food. Like,
too much food.
I'm full.
Yeah.
I can't take it anymore. And so it was waking her up. Like you said, it's such a puzzle to figure out what works for your baby.
And I'm so team feed to sleep. So that's why I was like,
you're like,
no, she wants it, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Like, but it just wasn't working. I needed another technique.
Yeah.
And
well, yay for trying new things and experimenting.
And not feeling guilty about it.
No.
I just wanted to shout out, we're both wearing our merch. Natasha looks like a legit watermelon.
I planned it this way. Taylor doesn't like it, but I think it's cool. Okay, so getting right into it. My life is chaos and like will be, and I just don't think that there's any point with having 2 kids where it's not going to be chaos. I have succumbed to the fact. It's not an opinion. It's a fact that 2 kids is chaotic and it's going to be chaotic.
Yes, it's true.
And I just don't believe anyone who says like, oh, like it gets less chaotic. No, because now we're doing sports and I've just... From the moment I open my eyes to the moment I go to sleep at night, it's chaotic. So that's all. That's all I have to say. I have nothing else to say.
Yeah, let's talk about it. And I want to hear all the clinical stuff and anything that's floated around in your world as a soon-to-be IBCLC having to do with pacifiers.
Yeah.
Pacifiers rile people up.
Yeah. I can't believe the discourse around all of the things and how strongly people feel about things, the way other people are doing things, like screen time. We're going to talk about screen time and pacifiers today. And it's like, why is everybody so mad?
I mean, I think swaddles even are in the same.
For sure.
Same thing.
A lot of things.
A lot
of baby products.
This new, everything.
Yes.
I mean, look, we live in a modern world. All this new stuff is evolving and coming out.
And look, some of it's helpful. But we always talk about how the pendulum swings.
for periods,
right,
there is always an arc back where
it turns into a problem.
So that's why, before we even get into it, my motto for all of these things, like research aside, is balance. Yeah, you don't want your kid using these things all the time.
Right.
Duh.
I was just talking to a girlfriend of mine, and she was like, why is it that with babies and kids, people are like, use this, it will help you. And then literally overnight, it's like, don't use it. It'll kill them. You have to take it away. Like the pacifier. It's like, use the pacifier. It reduces the risk of SIDS. And then they turn 18 months. It's like, you better take it away. Have you taken it away yet? What's your plan to take it away? Same thing with the swaddle. Swaddle them. It'll help them sleep. Swaddle them. Like, what are you doing without the swaddle? Right. And then it's like, stop swaddling or they'll die. Like, oh my God. And the crib. Same thing. Transitioning out of the crib.
Yeah.
Oh, they're climbing out of the crib. Better take them out today. It's so
but
dramatic.
First you better put them in their crib,
right?
Because co-sleeping is super unsafe,
right?
So put them in their crib. But now they have to get out of their crib immediately.
Yeah. And what's your plan? How are you gonna do it? Big boy bed, floor bed? What's the plan?
Can I just say,
there's just so much drama.
I am the mom with zero plan ever. I wake up, I'm like, YOLO, gonna try a pacifier today. Oh my God, it worked. It didn't for the last 3 months, but cool. Tomorrow, maybe I won't try it. Be very cautious that you feel like you need to purchase something. If you want to, try it out, but don't expect it to work 100%. Because I had a son who took a pacifier for maybe a month and then never again. The point is, no one has it figured out.
Right.
0%. If a mom is telling you they have it figured out, I'm sus of that mom.
Super sus.
So sus.
And they're probably trying to sell you something.
Yeah. And if they be bragging about their baby sleep, call them in a month. Maybe they're not.
Well, here's my hot take on sleep though. If your baby is sleeping, your baby was probably going to sleep anyway. You know what I mean?
Yes.
All of these tips and tricks and courses and that baby was probably going to sleep because of their temperament.
Yeah.
So like maybe there's things that you did. I'm not saying it's black and white. Like your baby was going to sleep 12 hours on their own, or your baby was never going to sleep through the night, whatever.
Right.
I'm just saying, like, hot take, there are certain temperaments that are much more malleable to sleep. And there are certain temperaments that, like, my daughter, she was never, I'm sorry.
It's like what we said, gentle parenting works for gentle kids.
Right.
Like, I'm so sorry. The gentle hands. No. Imagine doing that to my son. No. He'd smack me.
He would literally.
My friend who's visiting was like, did he just hit me? I was like, yeah. And I don't know what to do about it. No hitting.
Right.
We don't hit our friends.
Right.
Gentle hands.
Right.
Smack.
Yeah.
Like, no, I have to hold his hand and be like, absolutely not.
Right.
Not allowed in this house.
Right. Every time.
Ever.
Until they learn.
Yeah. Anyways.
So
what's the history of the pacifier? I saw in your notes, they go back to the 1800s.
Yeah. And they used to use like bone and all kinds of different materials just to give mom a break. In other countries, they call them dummies or soothers. Babies have a suck reflex and it's soothing.
Thumb suckers.
Yes. It helps with your digestive tract.
Makes sense.
Their digestive tract is very naive, and so the sucking helps soothe their tummy, helps with digestion. I mean, think about it, like you eat a meal and then you have to poop, so that's similar in the sense that like babies want to suck to help them move everything
right.
So back in the 1800s they started trying all of these things to help babies so they didn't have to constantly be attached to women's breasts.
My daughter sucks her fist.
So cute. Yeah, I love when they do that.
My husband thinks it's so cute.
I'm obsessed.
It's really cute.
But yeah, pacifiers are a relatively modern invention.
Yeah.
Are you pro or con?
I'm not pro or con, clearly. I mean, I randomly had one yesterday and popped it in her mouth.
Mm-hmm.
I do have some hot takes on them in my eyes. I think that the pro will bash some moms and the con will bash some moms. And I just think that being in the middle and understanding where we are today in society and how moms can't always be with their babies 100%.
Perfect example is the car.
Yes, like, I'm a huge proponent in the car.
Put the pacifier in the mouth in the car. Sorry, but we have to get where we're going.
Totally.
And I can't pull over every 5 minutes to put my boob in your mouth.
No.
So the pacifier, a great time.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why the car is a great time for the pacifier.
Yeah. And so here's my hot take. I do think that it gets tricky in the first few months and especially the first few weeks when you are still figuring out what the heck is going on with breastfeeding.
Yes.
And the reason is, if you see those models where it's like feed on demand versus suppress a feed with something else, like a pacifier or
scheduled
whatever.
feeds.
Yes.
Yeah, right. Stretching feeds.
Yeah, that's not feeding on demand. Yeah. So my hot take is pacifiers can impact feeding on demand.
That's not a hot take. That is evidence-based.
I think of all the times that babies aren't
being fed.
Right. So that impacts supply.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to say. So there's this whole discourse around full feeds, right? And how you have to stretch your baby to wait so that they will take a full feed. That's something that we've made up as a society.
Yeah, like don't let your baby snack.
Those are made up things that, like, I don't know if it was social media. I don't know where this began. I think probably related to the sleep training industry.
Right.
And look, I'm team feed your baby as much as possible during the day in hopes to get a longer stretch overnight.
Totally.
But it is biologically normal for babies to do one longer stretch of 3 hours or more in a 24-hour period. I want that stretch to be at night. I don't want to stretch my baby for feeds during the day. I want to feed them as often as possible, every 1, 2, 2.5 hours. I personally don't think I ever went more than 2.5 hours between feeds in the day without offering. Look, if your baby refuses, then that's a different story.
Right.
I'm saying though, like every 2 hours.
I have yet to do that.
Every 2 hours, like, and oftentimes more often, like every 45 minutes, every hour. Yeah. Sometimes it's just nonstop, like in the cluster feeding hours. And then hopefully your baby is full enough that when they go down for their longest stretch, they do a 3-hour or more stretch, one stretch in 24 hours in hopes that it lines up with my sleep too, so that we can do one long stretch together.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about stretching feeds in the day so we can get a full feed, to me, that seems counterintuitive.
Yeah.
Why am I trying to get a long stretch in the day? Who cares about getting a long stretch in the day?
Totally.
I don't want a long stretch in the day. So that's my hot take on that.
Yeah. I think first few months, you know, when you're suppressing feeds, that's when alarms go off in my head. Yeah. But where I'm at now is like, okay, I'm still going to feed on demand when she's hungry, but they start to tell you what they need a little better at 3 months.
If you're paying attention,
yes,
your baby will tell you what they need.
I know now when she's hungry versus at the beginning, it's kind of like, it's like they're always hungry. And the cluster feeding is much more common.
And they're going through so many growth spurts at 2 weeks, at 6 weeks.
It's all a growth spurt.
At 12 weeks. So you have all of these growth spurts. Yeah. And in the first 3 months, your supply is still being established, right? Yeah. You have the opportunity to do that in the first 3 months. And then so you go from endocrine system where it's hormone driven supply to it switches to the autocrine system. So then it's demand and supply. So if at 3 months you haven't made a full robust supply, it's difficult past that point to make any meaningful difference.
As a 2-day pacifier user. This is how I like to use a pacifier now.
You have a 3-month-old now.
Correct. Now I know when she's hungry versus not. But I will say what I like to do is she wakes up, I feed her. We have a wake window, la-di-da-di-da. I feed her again when she's about to be sleepy. And then I put her in the carrier and then I stick the pacifier in her mouth. So there ain't no way she's hungry because she's fed multiple times. I'm not missing a feed. I do like double feeds.
Yes.
But then to go to bed, it's a comfort measure because what I've realized is my daughter unfortunately wakes up burping and vomiting if I feed her to sleep. Look, I'm team feed to sleep if it works for you. Yeah. Great.
Right. And it worked great for my daughter.
Yeah.
But every baby's different.
And I still feed her to sleep at night. No issues. Yeah. But in the day, it's something about, I don't know. She was just getting too much at once, was like, whoa, 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 mom. So I was like, okay, let me try something else. Yeah. And look, the communication's on point between us because she went down like a queen twice yesterday from it and then once this morning.
Obsessed.
Crazy.
We love when the experiments work.
We love it. But
so
pacifiers might not even work for you. You might not like it. Don't be mad at them about it.
Right. You can't force a pacifier.
You don't like every product that's thrown at you.
Right. And as someone who's purchased at least 20 different types of pacifiers to try.
God. Can we talk about the types of pacifiers? So in regards to breastfeeding, true or false? Some pacifiers are better for breastfeeding and for palate than other pacifiers.
So
you're going to be unable to say true or false.
Of course I am.
It's nuanced.
It's not a true or false question because the jury is still out based on the evidence that we have. So the previous evidence that we had suggested that there was nipple confusion. I'm sure you've heard of that before. Pacifier nipple, the bottle nipple, and then the breast nipple. They would have trouble going back and forth between the three options or however many options you're using. The latest evidence is not conclusive on that, if that's really a thing, and shows that there's not necessarily one better type than the other. Using a pacifier past the age of 2 is not recommended.
Yeah.
It can cause malocclusions.
But what about palate for breastfeeding? Because I went to a cranial sacral adjustment. And I said, what pacifier do you recommend for breastfeeding? And they said, none. And they wouldn't give me an answer. And they said, look, pacifiers are great tools for things like the car and for other types of soothing. And I've had IBCLCs tell me this too. As IBCLCs, we just can't recommend one for breastfeeding because we've seen it impact palate. ND in the area told me that sometimes ones are so short they don't replicate a nipple that's pulling into the soft palate. So the one I tried with my daughter yesterday was one they were like, and look, I am not an expert, so I'm just like, whatever, I'll try something. Gave me one that's super long compared to the ones that are super short.
Right. So there's tons of marketing around
better for breastfeeding
or orthodontic, right? Those are the two types that you'll see. There's no evidence. I looked into this a good amount and there's no evidence that shows on the dental side that one is specifically better for malocclusion. What I found is that the evidence shows that it matters a lot more how much you're using it than which one you're using. So the AAP recommends using pacifiers because it is proven to have SIDS reduction, which so is breastfeeding, proven to reduce the risk of SIDS, but they're different in the sense that they're recommended for different things. So the breastfeeding SIDS reduction they think is tied to immunity.
Interesting.
And then they think the pacifier is arousal state and keeping babies in a lighter sleep than a really deep sleep because they're sucking and then they stop sucking and then they come back and they're like, you know, you've seen babies do that.
Yeah. And if they're on my boob.
Well, on the breast. So same thing, right? It's the sucking that they think like has to do with arousal. And if babies get into a deep sleep, they think that it can cause SIDS. And then also when babies are really little and they get sick, they think that that's related to SIDS.
Yeah. So pacifiers are a good tool. So non-exclusive breastfeeding moms.
Yes.
For
and
SIDS
so
reduction.
Formula feeding parents, it's highly recommended that you use a pacifier for SIDS reduction. Breastfeeding or like breast sleeping moms, you don't need to use a pacifier unless you want to. You said in the car or if your baby likes it or whatever.
Right.
But as far as the palate thing goes, I didn't find anything on it. Not to say like I am a research expert, but I think that this is where there's a difference in clinical evidence and studies versus what providers see in practice. And I do think that there's something to be said about what providers see in practice.
Yeah. Well, the palate is malleable.
Yeah, exactly.
It does change.
Of course. And that's the problem with prolonged excessive use of pacifiers.
Yeah. And I will say, to be fair, they weren't like, oh, we're a big no for usage in general. So like.
Well, and the breast is super malleable.
True.
So what I will say about pacifiers as a CLC and IBCLC candidate is when I'm looking for a pacifier. My daughter didn't like a pacifier until she was 18 months old.
Natasha sent me a photo of her daughter with Moo Moo.
Yeah, that's what she calls it. She calls it
a cow pacifier, 18 months. And I was like, wait, she never used one like until today.
Yeah. No, she found it when she was 18 months old and all of a sudden was like, no, my favorite thing. And now it's like an issue. But what I will say when I'm looking for a pacifier, and this is not evidence-based, this is just like me knowing what I know about breastfeeding and the breast tissue, is that I'm looking for something less rigid than some of the other options.
That makes sense.
I want something that mimics the breast tissue.
Yeah.
which is very malleable, very stretchy. The nipple stretches very far in the mouth. It doesn't go to the hard palate in the front. It goes all the way to the back of the mouth to the soft palate. So I want something like she said, longer, not those really short stubby ones.
Yeah.
And I want something on the softer side, not that hard, like plasticky ones that you see. Something that's thin that the baby has to grip onto. Now, the one that I use, I'm not going to like spread that you should buy this pacifier, because a lot of times babies just like pacifiers that they like. So if you're trying to use a pacifier because it helps your baby sleep, like just do what you got to do. Right. Like this isn't like, don't use that pacifier because it's not good. I think they all have
what it comes
pros
down
and
to
cons.
Though is if it's extended use, it's good to think about.
So the AAP recommends pacifier use at the onset of sleep. They don't recommend using it all night long, all day long, like for every inconvenience.
So I'm doing what AAP suggests without knowing that it's correct.
Yes.
I love this.
Once again, you think you're really pretty.
I am a witch. I'm a witch.
No, I know.
But that's validating because she told me what she needed, and it was, it just felt right. It felt right that it would be like, that's what I would use it for, you know?
Right. Yeah, because it's soothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my 2 cents on that. And like I said, that's not evidence-based. There's no studies on like the different types of pacifiers and bottle teats and all of that. But all I'm saying is that when I was looking for one, I looked for something a little bit softer because there are some really hard ones.
I used a really hard one and it got hardcore marketed to me as like a better breastfeeding one, blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to name what one it is. Yeah. Everyone has it. Yeah. And now I didn't buy those ones. I bought these ones just because that's what this IBCLC was talking to me about. Super cheap on Amazon, super standard, not heavily marketed, and it's super soft, it's long, and it moves, and she loves it.
Yeah. What I have seen in the clinic is babies who, and this is what made me think about like the softness of the pacifier, babies who are used to the nipple shield or babies who are used to bottles, then when the breast gets put in their mouth, they can't latch onto it. Because they're not used to having something so soft in their mouth. The rigidity of the nipple shield or the bottle triggers their suck reflex. And so the breast feels very slippery and soft, and they're not used to using those muscles. They don't have the muscle to latch on and keep that suction on the breast. So it just made me think about pacifiers and bottle nipples. Like maybe something a little bit softer is better for going back and forth. And like I said, this is all anecdotal, but it just made me think,
is exclusive breastfeeding more protective against SIDS than pacifier usage?
Right. People are like, well, why do I have to introduce a pacifier for SIDS protection if I'm breastfeeding? And the answer is you don't. Breastfeeding is just as protective, possibly more so per the data, but pacifier use is very protective against SIDS for bottle fed babies. And they think that has to do with the arousal stuff that we were talking about before and keeping babies in a lighter sleep state.
And it's a high number, right? It's over 50.
It's like 60%.
Wow.
Yeah. So it can be a great tool.
People don't talk about that enough. They just talk about the shame. Oh, it's bad. Don't get your kid addicted. Don't do this.
It's a balance, right? Yeah. Because you don't want to suppress feeding cues.
Yes.
You don't want to not feed your baby when they're hungry. And I think that's why the AAP recommends at the onset of sleep. Because it is sleep related, right?
Yes.
SIDS is sleep related. Yes. So it's finding the balance.
You don't want to suppress feeds and use the pacifier all day during the day, but great tool at night when you need to get sleep and it's very soothing and it's preventing SIDS.
Exactly. And we want to make sure, right, that when babies are newborns, that they're getting fed all the time. And your body is getting the stimulation that it needs. And I think that's why there's this like confusion. Okay, well then do I need to breastfeed and do the pacifier? Yeah. Not necessarily, because they're kind of two different things. So like if you're breast sleeping in bed, you don't need to use a pacifier because the breast is acting as the pacifier would for bottle feeding families. Does that make sense? Oh my God.
Can we talk about this for a second?
Tell me. I would love to.
Women can't win, right? It's like if you feed all the time from your boobs are all of a sudden a pacifier.
Right.
Boobs are the original pacifiers.
Yes.
Give me a break. But then if you use a pacifier all the time,
you're doing things wrong. If you're constantly breastfeeding and your baby's using you as a pacifier, it's like, get your baby off the boob. And then if you use a pacifier, people are like, are they ever going to not have that in their mouth? You're silencing the baby. You're silencing your kid just to shut them up. And it's like, God, give me a break.
I know.
Give me a break.
Somewhere in the middle is the happy medium.
Yes. This is the AAP and the American Academy of Pediatric Dentists. The recommendation is to start weaning off around 18 months and then really limit it starting at 2. 2 to 4 is considered extended use and should be very limited.
Yeah.
So I've taken that recommendation and I do only allow her to have it in her bed. And she does throw a fit about it. But I started trying to gamify it. When she gets up from her nap, I pick her up and I say, do you want to throw your moo-moo in the bed or do you want me to throw it in the bed? And then she goes, Lily, throw. And then she takes it and she throws it.
Cute.
And then she's asked me for it again. Can I have moo-moo back? And I say, no, moo-moo's just for sleep. And then we go do something else. Do you want to have a snack?
Yeah.
Because I do think sometimes it's maybe she's hungry or thirsty or
needs something else.
Or needs something else.
And can't communicate quite.
Yeah.
Although she's a very good communicator.
I saw something and it was like, 4-year-old with pacifier, pick your battles or too far. The recommendation is like start to wean at 18 months. And like as someone who has an almost 2-year-old who's using a pacifier, like I get it. It's a pain in the butt.
Totally.
To wean. I understand why you would want to wait longer until they are a little bit more reasonable to wean. A lot of times it's tied to sleep and you don't want to mess up sleep.
Okay,
like,
trust me, I get it because I was never a swaddle girl.
Yeah.
My baby's in a swaddle.
Yeah.
I know that the clock be ticking.
Right.
I got to take it off. But hey, it's a safety thing.
Right.
Sleep will come back.
Yeah.
And I just think like, I know in my head, I'm not going to keep her in the swaddle past the age it's safe.
Yeah.
Once she's rolling. And I do think that actually happens. People keep babies in swaddles too long.
Yeah. I mean, look at the snoo. They're strapped in. On the back.
Don't get me started on the snoo. So much to say.
They're strapped down.
Strapped down.
It's like,
oh my God. It gives me it's like, how did we get here?
I know.
Oh my Lordy. Save it for the predatory marketing episode.
I'm sorry, but when you have to strap your baby down, it's time to unswaddle. I have to say it.
Wait, what's really funny is my 3-month-old, like she can get out of the swaddle, which I think it's funny because like I unzip the sides and then I put her in the swaddle and then by like midnight or whatever, both hands are out of the zips.
Right.
And she's going, and I start her a little cozy, but I know she can break free if she wants to. I just think like there comes a point where we're prolonging things and suppressing things that are natural and supposed to happen.
And she's communicating with you.
And she's communicating. She's like, Mom, I'm not staying in this
She's
shit.
on her way out. She's ready to have her arms out.
And I think the same with the pacifiers. Exactly. It's like, look, there's recommendations for a reason. And there might be some tantrums.
We got to get there.
And
then there's the other camp that'll say, well, they're not going to go to college with their pacifier in their mouth, so who cares? Like, sure, I get it.
And I agree with that for some things.
It's really hard, and I get wanting to kick the can down the road.
But also...
we have to do.
There too. You're the boss of your household.
Yeah. Yes.
What's a problem today won't be a problem in 2 weeks if you rip it off. I stand by that.
Yeah. Well, and it's like weaning. It's weaning from breastfeeding.
Oh, it's all a thing.
It's all the things. Like I get it. It sucks.
It sucks
when my daughter was waking up at 2 a.m. and I had to make her sausages because I refused to nurse her. It sucks.
There's always going to be a thing.
But it's short-lived. It was like 3 weeks and I was like, whatever, we have to press through.
And also I think, I think it is a little unfair, hot take, when you know the data and you know the research, you're doing your kid a disservice to prolong it. Before then, all is fair.
Right.
Do what you have to do. But I think let's look at the research and let's do what's best.
Now, I did hear 2 things, actually, and then I'll shut up about pacifiers. One was I heard that if you take it away before 18 months, they'll be sad. And if you take it away after 18 months, they'll be mad. A pediatrician said that. And then a pediatric dentist said he wouldn't take it away for sleep until like closer to 4.
Whoa.
Because like if they're only having it at the onset of sleep, then like
okay, that's a different story.
Then
though.
like who cares?
I see like 3-year-olds at like their soccer games with like pacifier, and
I'm like soccer games.
You know what I mean?
If they can play soccer, they shouldn't have it in their mouth. Hot take.
There's a difference between sleep. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
At the onset of sleep versus like walking around with it.
100%.
Yeah. So we're talking about 2 different things and we're just sharing that the data shows.
is the tea.
That
we are moving on.
Should we get hats like Dave Portnoy, Tea by the Sea?
I feel like low-key love him. I don't know how he pivoted from a barstool frat guy that I couldn't stand to like this man spilling tea on a beach chair that I like can't wait to release videos.
Every time he posts like Tea by the Sea, I'm like, my favorite thing.
Be my friend.
My show is on.
Yeah. Come on as a guest. Please, you are welcome. In college, I couldn't stand the man. And now I'm like, bring the tea, Dave Port.
And it really goes to show that people can change.
I've changed.
And everyone goes through their mountains and valleys. And
maybe I judged too hard, too quick, you know? So, he's always been great.
But I also think that research shows that males don't fully develop until they're 42 years old. And I think he's around that age.
Can't even talk about Dave Portnoy without talking about the research. It's nuanced. There's research. Here's the data.
I'm sorry, I'm a nerd. What do you want me to say? Speaking of Tea by the Sea, let's talk about screen time.
Yeah, screen time is crazy.
So
let's get into it.
Let's just start off with a brief history of the guidelines.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
So the no screen time under the age of 2 was guideline made by the AAP in 1999. As you and I both know, and all of you listeners know, a lot has changed since 1999. Some of you may have not even been born yet, which is crazy.
Oh my God. I'm old.
I know. Now, it was based on limited research at the time, and they did a recalibration in 2016, which now you're speaking my language because at least that's in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Not a lot was done research wise in between 1999 and 2016, but they did make an exception for video chatting with family.
Yeah.
They still hold strong that there should be no screen time under the age of 2. But when you're looking at the data, it is nuanced.
I don't really think that for my son, I think every kid has different needs
for sure.
Wants. I don't really think it's not that necessary before like 18 months too. They don't really like even care a lot.
No.
I do think it's temperament too.
For sure.
Like my son literally just couldn't give 2 F's about TV.
Yeah.
I would try on the plane, for example, and he'd be like,
no, and some kids like just in general like don't care about TV. They want to move.
Right.
Whether it's at 18 months or 3, you know. Like I have friends that have a 4-year-old son and he will not watch TV. She's like, sit down. But it's like different per kid.
Yeah. And I do feel like from what I've seen in the data in my household, I do feel like there was a shift around 2 where he understood and could sit and watch. And the reasons why I needed him to sit and watch were different. Like before that, at around 18 months, I feel like they're still kind of okay with a play kitchen or like they're not necessarily climbing walls, like harming themselves.
There is something that happens between 18 months and 3 that's like so crazy.
Yeah.
And then in my experience, 4 goes back to, I think it's maybe the attention span or something.
Your daughter, who's like almost 2.
Almost 2.
I feel like she's just now, like, just because I'm over at your house a lot.
Yeah.
She's just now in the age where I'm like, oh, TV's like she sits. But like, she's so good though at still being engaged with other things.
Well, she'll watch for 10 minutes and then she's done. You
and
know?
That's how my son was at that age too. So I don't know. So
it's a great tool for me because sometimes I'm like, I need 12 minutes to myself. You guys sit.
Correct.
But then her attention span is so short that she's then on to the next thing. And I'm like, okay, we're turning this off.
Yeah. And she's just getting to the age where TV becomes a requirement every now and then because she's like about to get up to some
some,
you know,
trouble.
But before that, I'm like, okay, you can
distract.
Yes.
And they're like happy, like sitting at your feet, playing in the kitchen. No, but now she's like demanding.
Can I also say another hot take?
Yeah.
I think before 18 months, it just kind of looks wrong.
Totally.
For kids to be watching TV.
Totally.
18 months to me is baby. This is what people will say.
Yes.
It's an educational show.
So here's the thing. The evidence shows that there is no benefit, whether it's educational, it's different shades of bad. Besides like me needing to take a shower and like you sit there for a second so that you're contained.
Fair.
Which is totally fair. Now there are evidence-based things like sitting and watching a video of nature with your kid and discussing animals, that's a slightly less shade of bad. But it's not proven to have any positives.
Right.
There is evidence that shows that more than 3 hours of TV for kids brings us to the higher echelon of causing real issues.
I mean, let's talk about adults.
Yeah.
I get a little bit cuckoo crazy if I watch more than 3 hours of a show.
Well, just sitting for that long, it doesn't feel good. And for work too.
Well, it disrupts my sleep too.
Yes.
If it's too late in the day and I'm watching too much and I'm getting stimulated. And
I cross-checked the data that I found on this with what Emily Oster says, because I'm always so curious about what her takes are and if it's aligned. And same with what Emily Oster says is that screen time before bed is the worst. Yeah. It's the worst for the onset of sleep. So it's harder for kids to go to bed after watching. And it has lasting effects through the night that the quality of sleep is worse for all people, not just kids.
Like I was watching Love Island at 10 last night and my brain was going a little cuckoo.
Yeah, for sure. Cuckoo bananas.
Took me so long to wind down.
Yes. So that's something that we can like take note of, right? As parents. And then quality also matters. Sitting on the couch and watching with your child is different than turning on YouTube autoplay. Sesame Street and low stim, the research is showing that that is different than just letting them watch whatever. It just keeps playing.
I cannot have the like high stimulation kid cartoons on anyway for my own mental well-being. Like, oh my God.
So obnoxious.
It's like watching like a kid rave.
I have certain shows that like I don't allow just because like I can't listen. Like there are certain things that you can watch. I typically like to default to like music videos or watch a lot of different surf locations and like surf spots, or like we watch animals, that kind of stuff.
I love a really, really old movie. Every Sunday night we watch a family movie now. Cute. My son, he's almost 3 and we started doing this maybe a couple months ago. Mm-hmm. Like we just watched Sound of Music.
Obsessed.
Oh,
probably my favorite movie of all time.
Oh my God. We're all like dancing, singing, getting up. He looked at me and was like, Mommy, I'm so happy.
Oh my God, my heart. So
like
sweet.
So cute. It's a family bonding moment.
See, that's different.
Super low stimulation. It's like children singing in Austria. Music component too.
The Jungle Book. Like I love the
Jungle. Oh my God, we just watched that recently.
Which, do you know what year that was released in?
Bare Necessities.
I think it was 1964. Crazy. Like it's so old.
Beautiful hand-drawn illustrations, animations.
So pretty.
So cool.
So those are the things in the evidence. And then the evidence does say 18 months versus 2, which I think is interesting. 18 months is like sort of the turning point, which we kind of felt anyway in our own households, but it was interesting.
Yeah, before that, it feels wrong. I stand by that. It's like... I'm sorry. Yeah. It just does. Sometimes you're watching something and like your baby's there.
That's different.
But we do need to talk about how having things constantly turned on is another issue.
So look, like if you're doing like an at-home workout or like you're watching Bravo while breastfeeding, you got to do what you got to do.
My daughter here's got a text from Love Island.
Right.
At least once a day.
I think the evidence is talking about, they specifically quoted 5 to 6 hours a day of background TV was what American children are exposed to daily.
Okay. Can I just say, I think so much of the studies that we feel the need to do for children, it's like we already know as adults.
Right.
Like if I constantly have something on in the background, my mind is super
my body feels the effects too stimulated. And I talk to my husband about this with sports all the time too, because if it were up to him, he would have sports on all the time.
Totally.
And I can't stand the background noise of like the commentators and the crowd, like, and all the commercials. I'm like, turn it off. I'm so overstimulated. Like my mind needs silence, like not silence, but just like not one more thing. And I think about that with the kids.
Yeah.
Even with the news or whatever, like it's just too much noise. And I think their little brains need the break. Like, cause I know I do.
So what is the issue with constantly having background TV on?
From what I found, the research shows that it is associated with reduced parent-child interactions. And we know that parent-child interactions is tied to development. And so we can extrapolate that that's affecting speech and
I think screen time
development in general.
Screen time is a really interesting topic for our generation in particular, because like it becomes a guilt thing again.
Yeah.
Sometimes people feel like it is their only village is turning on a screen.
I felt like that. I need to go literally to the bathroom.
Totally.
And I would like to go alone.
But like the issue is America has put parents in this impossible position where it's like they're giving us guidelines, right? Don't use this much screen time.
Yes.
Don't use this. Don't do this. Don't do this. But you get no paid leave and no support. So you can't actually follow these guidelines. You have to turn on a TV because you have no help.
Well, and there's so much predatory marketing. Think back to when we were kids, or like a little bit after, there was Baby Einstein. And it was like, make your child a genius. Watch Baby Einstein. And they were putting infants in front of the TV.
I mean, people literally can't afford daycare. And so they're utilizing Miss Rachel and all these different tools to educate, which love her, by the way, used her.
Well,
I'm just saying, like, people use all day these things during work hours.
Right. Of course,
and it's
because
like,
they have to.
They have to.
And it's cruel that that's the situation that they're in. And I do not blame them.
No, I don't either.
Yeah.
I blame the government for releasing all these guidelines, but then not releasing the support for parents to be able to follow that.
Yeah, like thanks for your 2 cents.
I feel this way about breastfeeding, by the way. World Health Organization, all these different organizations breastfeed exclusively for 6 months. We know it improves ABC outcomes.
Go back to work after 6 weeks. Go back to work after 2 weeks. I mean, the amount of stories, and it's not like these aren't corner cases.
No.
This is the norm.
This is America.
This is the norm.
Yeah. So I use screen time for potty rewards.
Oh, okay. Tell me.
Really worked for me. I always thought I was going to be so hippie, zero screen time.
Right.
Blah, 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 blah. I've found it very useful for potty rewards. Gets an episode of Blippi. Shout out to Blippi.
Blippi's
Every time he poops, goes, I gotta poop. Blippi, I get to watch Blippi.
Wait, does he say it in the Love Island voice?
He goes, I pooped.
Because you just said it in the Love Island voice.
I gotta poop.
I gotta poop.
Blippi. But it's become this fun thing.
Yeah. See, and it goes back to the pacifier thing. Like, do what you got to do to get through and then remove it.
It's like a 12-minute episode.
Right.
So I'm like, I'm not going to feel bad about it.
No.
But there is a sweet spot, like all things, between utilizing our modern technology to improve our lives and giving a 18-month-old a iPad. Yes, utilize it sometimes, but it is taking away from adult human interaction.
Yeah, and actually in the San Diego Unified School District, they're sending kids home in kindergarten with laptops that has full access to the internet. No restrictions. It's an equity thing, right? So low-income families maybe don't have a laptop at home. I completely am on board with making it an even playing field in school. It should be. That being said, I do not think that kindergartners should be sent home with their own laptop with no restricted access. It should be for school purposes if they need to use a computer at all. Which
Does it even have to be sent home with them? Can't they just use it at school?
Bring back the computer lab. I'm sorry.
Oh my God, I loved the computer lab.
And it should have restricted access. It should only have the tools that they need to use for their age. There should be multiple computer lab monitors like there was when we were kids. They do not need to be sent home with a laptop when they're 6 years old and in kindergarten. I'm sorry, but they don't. And I don't think that they should be sent home with homework at all.
Oh my God, I agree.
I understand we're living in a modern world, and I think that there should be computer access available. They should be able to use it. I don't know if it needs to be used in kindergarten.
Are studies about this,
but maybe it should be used in computer lab, not a laptop sent home. I'm sorry, but it is wrong.
Too much technology in school. There have been studies how it can decrease reading and writing skills.
Duh.
Bring back the good old book reports.
I'm sorry.
Read a book, write about it, report about it.
Those blue books you had to write an essay in.
Oh, I missed that. I can still smell
I know. There's no way that kids aren't using AI to write papers now. Like there's no way. So anyways,
scary times, man.
Technology is happening so fast that the evidence isn't able to catch up. All of these studies take a really long time. They're not able to catch up with the times fast enough. But we as parents, like if it feels wrong, listen to your intuition. We talk about this with breastfeeding. We talk about it with babies.
Kids can struggle a little more. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I just watched this interview of a neurologist who was like, look, I've seen the data on how social media and phones can literally change minds.
Yeah.
And it's very scary. And as a neurologist, my kids do not have phones.
Yeah.
And guess what? Yeah, it's a little complicated.
Right.
They have to go to the principal to use their phone for pickup. But guess what? We survive.
Right.
And they will get them at an appropriate age.
Right. We're getting a landline because
I love that.
I'm sorry, but if you need to get a hold of my children, call me. Hi, can I speak to? Yeah, sure. If we don't trust our kids to make decisions about safety issues, why would we trust them with full access to the internet? So anyways, the screen time thing is complicated. We know it's not recommended for under the age of 18 months. The guidelines say 2, fine. And we know it's not having any positive impact. That being said, there are ways to make it less bad, right? You don't have to be on the worst end. We know that after you get to the 3 hour per day point for your child, we know that there are proven stats internationally. We know that that's the break point in where like we're seeing real delays. But that being said, you shouldn't feel bad about having to use it as a tool in your toolkit. Kids are going to have access to TV, to phones, to laptops. We live in a modern society. So it's just to like figure out your balance, I think. And I think as a mom, as parents, we're constantly figuring out what that balance is.
To like monitoring the time is important because it is proven that screens are addictive.
Right.
Of course they are.
Of course. We know that. We are addicted.
Oh my God. I'm so addicted. My husband got the brick thing.
Oh, he did?
Where you put your phone on the brick during work hours.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hello, but I need to contact you. But it's kind of like sugar, right?
Yeah.
Kids will have sugar in moderation.
Right.
But you don't give them an ice cream cone every breakfast.
Right. Just because they want it.
So we don't give a screen to a kid every time they want it.
Yeah.
You know, because I see in my own life, like the more screen time, the more he's requesting, the more he's pitchforks up.
Right.
I want Blippi because, or I'm going to make myself poop because I want Blippi.
Stop.
Yeah. He'll sit on the toilet.
It goes to show you though, like how addictive it is.
Dude, it's so addicting.
Yeah,
like I can see how when it becomes excessive, like you could start expecting it a lot more, not being able to do other things.
Right. Like what is it taking away from? You don't want it to replace like normal kid interactions and like parent interactions, right? But like if you use it as a tool while you're making dinner so that like you can get something else done for 30 minutes, fine, you know?
Sounds like the pacifier conversation.
Totally. So it's all about balance
when you need
and use it as a tool, but like excessive use, prolonged excessive use is not recommended. We know it's bad for development. We don't need to get into like exactly what it's bad for and what it causes. And we just know it's not great. Yeah. So let's use it as a tool because we live in modern society. Yeah.
Here's my hot take with my personal life really quick.
Okay, tell me.
When I go to dinner with my kids, I expect it to be a shit show.
Yes. It's going to be 45 minutes in and out.
A dinner out at a restaurant with someone under 3 years old is going to be crazy, chaotic, and that's what I expect.
Yeah.
If I want a peaceful, non-chaotic dinner, I will not bring my child.
Right.
That's my hot take.
Yeah.
One of us is going to have to get up. We're going to have to run around. And trust me, I've been on vacation where we give him Blippi on my phone.
Of course.
Because we're out in New York at a restaurant. Yeah. We don't have babysitters on call. We don't have family. I get it.
Yes, of course. I get it. Of course. It just turns into the balance thing. And setting your expectations such that you expect it to be 45 minutes. You're not going to have conversations with the people you're with. If I go out to dinner with people and their kids, like I'm not expecting to like have a meaningful conversation with you.
Brings me back to once we went to a Mexican restaurant and Natasha's husband was like, we should just leave.
No, and
he was like, should we go?
And then he did.
In the kids' defense, restaurants are not a good environment for them.
You're expecting them to not act age appropriate. To sit down for 45 minutes, they are incapable.
My toddler is acting like a toddler because they are a toddler.
Right. He doesn't sit down at my house for 45 minutes for dinner. Like, what are we thinking? Like, that's just not appropriate. And to ask them to do that is like mean.
I agree. What were the ones we watched? What is the surf one? What is the surf cartoon? I watched the Rugrats
and
Hey Arnold.
I watched Barney when I was little.
Barney.
Sesame Street. Rocket Power.
Oh my God. Rocket Power. I all of a sudden need to find that for my son.
I loved Rocket Power.
He will love it.
Yeah.
I remember associating screen time with if I had done my homework and my mom was cooking dinner. That's like what I vividly remember. And then I also remember it was really fun for us to do some family movie nights.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I don't remember ever watching it on the weekend. I remember always being out of the house.
We got to watch Saturday morning cartoons, and we used to always get to watch in the morning before school, but I don't ever remember getting to watch in the evenings ever. And what was on, and that's what you got to watch. And if you didn't like it, then go do something else, because that's it. There was no other choice.
Yeah.
But like,
I do think we grew up in a place that was very outdoor focused. And
For
like,
sure.
I didn't even want to watch TV growing up. I wanted to be outside with my friends.
Right.
I wonder, I don't know if the culture has shifted a little. And because I do think people are having less and less interactions.
I think COVID changed a lot of things for screen time and just our culture in general.
Yeah.
I mean, there are studies that show.
I watch more shows and TV
now
post-COVID.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Yeah. Who knows if that's just because we're older and like phase of life, right? It's just interesting to think about. I mean, studies show that people watch more TV now post-COVID than pre-COVID.
A lot of moms have a lot of guilt that during nursing, they scroll on their phone and look at screens. And someone specifically asked, do you have any other suggestions? What I will say is don't feel guilty. Everyone's done it. But I understand not wanting to do it for every feed, because it actually bothers me too.
Yeah.
When I'm doing it,
Yeah.
it just makes me feel kind of icky to do it every time, the whole time.
Right.
It's like my phone's by her head.
Right.
It just makes me feel like
we always talk about this datafied parenting, and you are not paying attention to your baby. You're paying attention to your phone.
Totally.
And I get it, because you're sitting there for 30 minutes and it's boring.
Yeah. It's the beginning when they're longer feeds.
Yes.
It's like, okay.
But did you see that video? I don't know who it was, but she was saying don't scroll while you're breastfeeding, because
it impacts the milk.
It spikes your cortisol, and the cortisol goes into the milk. And I don't know if that's true or whatever, but
another thing for moms to feel guilty about,
Right.
but I'm not going to lie, I've thought about it, because
me too.
you do take in what you're looking at.
Of course.
Yeah. And we're all, doom scrolling.
Yeah.
And so I think that her question was such a good one, because I refound my love for books in this period of time.
Yes.
And I love a good Kindle with low light. And I love my romance fantasy.
Yeah. I also love listening to an audiobook.
She's probably getting lots of oxytocin from my romance fantasy pumping through that.
Oh my God, sad.
No cortisol here. Only love.
That's so funny. No, but I think there's something to be said about it, and also listening to something that's like not stressful.
Totally, because social media is so stressful these days.
Right. Well, everything's clickbaity. The last thing to keep in mind is we're looking at our phones a lot. We're looking at screens a lot, laptops, TVs, and there is research that shows that we are not interacting and not responding to our children as much as we have in the past, because we're distracted. What I thought about was like, okay, well, how is this different than back in the day when dad was reading the newspaper and he was like, don't talk to me right now, or mom was like, I'm busy doing something, I'll play. But there's something different about it. And it just made me think I need to be more aware of just being more present in each thing, because I have a really hard time being like, this is this time. This is this time. And I don't want to be unnecessarily rigid, but I want to be more aware.
So this applies to everything. When I was working in the corporate world, my CEO required us all to have 4 hours on our calendar a week of deep work where we could not answer calls. All we did was heads down, focus and strategize on our work. It's a block on your calendar.
I love that, actually.
And it improved all of our work so much. And I feel this way about motherhood too, is I need to block out times in the week where all I am doing is being present with my baby.
Right.
And I'm not doing anything else. I'm not accepting calls. I am not trying to work on the podcast. I literally am just looking at her and I'm responding to her and I'm being present.
Well, when we interviewed our parent coach in the past, she was like, even 15 minutes makes a difference.
Totally.
It's not like you need to block 4 hours to like just look at your baby. Just being present. And I do think there's something to be said about just like going to the grocery store with them, but not looking at your phone.
Yeah.
Right. Or like trying to multitask.
Yes, that's the issue.
And I have a really hard time with that, because like there's so much to do.
Totally.
But I do want to improve on that. So just
Yeah. I've been thinking about it a lot lately.
I've been thinking about it too.
It makes me feel less scrambled. Yes. To dedicate my time to specific things. Oh my God. Funny story to talk about this. So my friend is visiting right now. Clearly she has my baby. Her and I have so much to catch up on.
Yeah.
Best friends from college. Like we were roommates. Much has happened in our lives. I had another baby. I haven't seen her in 9 months. We're trying to catch up yesterday and my toddler's with us. And we went on a walk like 2 hours later and she goes, I don't know how you do this because I'm still like, wait, what did we catch up on already? What did we talk about? My son was also asking her to do a puzzle at the same time. I just kept talking over it like it was no big deal. She's like, what did I tell you?
Right.
What did we talk about for the last 2 hours? Because she was like, I don't remember anything.
Yeah. Because it's so disruptive.
It's so disruptive and you want to be present with them. Yeah. And he's in the why phase. And she's just like, what?
Oh my God, it kills me because he's so in that phase when I saw you last weekend.
But
I was like, Kelly, you can't go up the slide that way. And he was like, why?
But that's what mom brain is.
Yes.
And someone who's not a mom, it's like, whoa.
Yes.
Like
it's rattling.
Moms, we're rattled.
But like also I've never had a conversation in the past 4 years that's not been interrupted if my kids have been around.
Mom's interrupted.
Literally. And on that note, peace. I wouldn't like stress about doing an at-home workout or like.
Totally. Release the guilt. Do your own thing.
And if you have a baby, just like.
Live your life and tune out the social media noise.
I get wanting to like be the best, but I also think like.
Totally.
You got to feed your soul too.
Yeah.
So that's that on pacifiers and screen time.
Yeah. Thanks for listening.
I thought you were high-fiving me, but you were going to fix your hair.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.